Hi Leo, welcome to your August 2017 love reading. It's Rena here. So I was just thinking about August for Leos. I mean, July is when I'm recording this, so I can just imagine how exciting August is going to be for you guys. And so August for Leo is especially important because you have a second new moon, very rare in and of itself, but it's going to be a solar eclipse, and that's on the 21st of August, and of course in Leo. And then, but before that, there's going to be a lunar eclipse on August 7th in Aquarius, and that is your 7th house of committed partnership. It's your opposite sign. So that should be eventful as well for those of you who are coupled. That's like, I think it's like the third time I've picked that card. In different positions though. Picked this card a number of times too. And that shouldn't surprise me, because with the eclipse season, there may be a lot of people leaving situations, making these drastic changes. Okay. Put these to the side. Oh. Okay. Okay, this is the heart of the matter. This is the Seven of Wands. This can actually be another fire sign. Aries, a fellow Leo, Sagittarius. But it can be that. It can be one of those signs. I would say if it is, this person is either they are very defensive and you have to walk on eggshells, or they, I don't like to use the word make you feel that way, but you tend to feel that way around them. Whoever this person is, it could be somebody who you feel like you always have to explain yourself. You always have to defend your position. You don't have the same kind of ways of looking at life. And this can indicate incompatibility, therefore. So that is always a red flag if you feel this sense of like you don't understand them or they don't understand you, and the other person's always explaining. Sometimes there are misunderstandings. I've noticed that too, is that when two people, and it doesn't have to be romantically, but when two people communicate and there's like this barrier where they're always taking offense to the other person, thinking that that person is dissing them. And really the person is not. They just have these different ways of communicating. And it can be aggravating, but what's worse, it can show that the relationship is really not a healthy one, especially if it's a very personal thing where the person treats you like you're not okay. Then that for sure is not healthy. Now, this is a very interesting situation because we have in the past position the Nine of Cups. This is the wish fulfillment card. So it almost makes me think that somebody pretended that they were everything to you and you thought that you had finally met your soulmate or something like that. And actually they were putting on an act until they got you to fall in love and to be vulnerable, and then they started in on you. And it was like this campaign of like, what's wrong with you? because the contrast of those two cards is very striking to me. It's possible too, and this is a definite possibility, that you have met somebody, and possibly this is a water sign, I'm thinking, because I do get that for the Six of Cups as well, but this could simply be the emotional connection that you feel. Maybe you're in a relationship with somebody who you always feel on the defensive, but you have recently met somebody who is like your dream person. And by the way, depending on when you're listening to this, this could be something that's, the past could be the future. Like the Nine of Cups could be something in your future. So don't assume that if it hasn't happened yet that it can't happen. Perhaps you've met this person who really feels like you could, you know, dedicate your life to being with this person. And yet you're, let's say you're married, or you're in this committed relationship with somebody who it's not a good fit. What this would be saying, this card, because this is a current situation, is that that person is your soulmate, or that this is more of a soul connection. The other one, the Seven of Wands, may have been a physical attraction. Maybe you had a sexual chemistry. Maybe you even have a child together as a result of that chemistry. And so you feel this sense of being duty-bound to that person. And yet you don't get along with them, or they don't understand you. And this other person, it's like you understand each other, because you have that, it's almost like unspoken understanding. You know, the Six of Cups can relate to innocence and love. And this is like an uncomplicated relationship. When relationships are really complicated, when I think of the Seven of Wands, it's like this complicated thing where you don't understand each other, and it's like you always have to be explaining yourself. That's not what the Six of Cups is all about. It's like this intuitive understanding. Just because it's cups, you know, the cups is the soul, the emotional. And childhood is very innocent. It's not complicated, convoluted. The higher message is the Eight of Cups. It's like maybe you should have left a long time ago, and for some reason you did not, Leo. I would say it's because you are someone who is very, you know, because you're a fixed sign, you don't like change. You know, it's funny. I got this card for Scorpio, and I got another, it might have been that Seven of Wands, and I was saying, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if a Leo person is involved. So because you're both fixed signs, you may find that negative attraction alluring. And sometimes I think those squares have sexual attraction because of their differences. But they can be overall negative relationships because the ways of looking at the world are so different, and the personality types are so different, that it can tend to, you know, when two people form a square with their sun signs, it can tend to clash. It can tend to feel like you know, grate on each other's nerves in a way. What crosses you, so what is the challenge, is represented by the Fool. Now you notice that the Fool is a 0 and that he's holding a knapsack. This represents starting anew and being on that new path, that journey, and not having a destination but trusting in the unknown. And you may, again, it may go back to that thing of like, are you willing to risk change and risk the, you know, if you want to call it chaos of change, of what change brings to you. The 0 is the unknown quantity. But the thing about that is that it can be more than you ever dreamed of. And that is like, you could say it's a gamble, but it really isn't, because our lives are about expansion. Whenever we're doing something for our own benefit, not in a greedy sort of way, but we really think that we would be helped by doing something, I tend to think more times than not that the universe supports that. I don't know if I fully mentioned the meaning of this higher message. This is about leaving what no longer serves you. So that's what I'm trying to get at with this card. I might not have even mentioned that. And this is the higher message. So spiritually, you may be called upon to upset the apple cart of your life because you're not connecting emotionally. And if you notice, the cards flanking that Seven of Wands are both water sign cards because they're both cups. So that's saying that you may have somebody else who is more like that, who is more emotionally fulfilling, and yet you're still with this other person. The advice, or what's coming up, is represented by the Ten of Wands. Some of you may really try to make it work with this fire sign person. And this is about carrying a load, a burden that may not belong to you. Perhaps you're doing all of the heavy lifting, and it's saying that when it's that lopsided, you know, you risk your own breakdown. I don't mean like, you know, the incredible breakdown, but I'm talking about in terms of your own stress levels by trying to deal with somebody who is it's like that Seven of Wands person, that person could be a narcissist. And as I've been listening to videos on YouTube about narcissists, I've been seeing how a lot of times there is no way to win against somebody like that, because that's not what they're about. They're not about any kind of thoughtful dialogue about what's going on in your relationship. They want things the way they want them. And I believe in giving people a chance. But the Ten of Wands is about taking on a burden that may not be yours. And that could be bad in the sense also, spiritually, that you are doing for somebody else what they need to do for themselves or do for the relationship. Because, you know, fair is fair. And if you're in a relationship with someone and you are trying to make it work and they're not trying to make it work, and what's worse, they're actually giving you stress by never accepting you for who you are, that is problematic. You may be trying to knock yourself out, trying to be what they want you to be, and it's not working. The outcome is that eventually you're going to have to decide. Now, you may even have an outer event happen. That's not something that is a blessing sometimes, where you get a choice coming to you that, you know, like a job offer, where you have to decide whether or not you're going to move, and then you have an excuse. But it could be a situation of choosing between a fire sign individual and somebody else. Sometimes it could be two fire signs. So as I say, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius are fire signs. But this other person may be somebody who's more of a soulmate, and you have that emotional connection, and you know there's a difference. You may have just been trying to prolong the inevitable, and eventually something comes to a head, and you have to address it. But this may not be for the month of August. It may be something where you do try to make things work, and eventually you come to the decision that you have to finally make a decision. To make a decision that you have to make a decision. So, in any case, Leo, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. Otherwise, have an awesome August. Bye.